Welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time today to join us for our very first episode of STEM and STEAM activities at home or in the classroom. We're excited to share some great projects with you, and there will be a weekly episode moving forward. So share this with your colleagues and others because we're going to keep going over some great interactive hands-on activities that can be easily integrated into your curriculum and engage your students as well. With that being said, as attendees are still signing on to the webinar, I did want to mention to everyone how you can communicate with us today. You'll see on the webinar control panel, there is a questions tab. This is how you can ask questions, write comments, and interact with my colleague and me throughout this webinar. Also keep in mind that this webinar is being recorded and you'll have access to it about 2 hours after the presentation. And you also want to fill out the survey at the very end as well, because we'll use this feedback to improve our webinars. Now I'm going to pass it over to our presentation to Josh, who's going to be the main presenter of our newly added series.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Josh, and actually over here with me is Pete. So you hear another voice, that's Pete out to the side handling all the questions and comments and whatnot. So if you have any questions in the chat window, Pete will answer them because he can see that screen over there. But I'm here doing a fun video with Nasco Education, as you can see over there. And before we get started, if you like this series of videos, like what we're doing and other things, please go to Oh, where'd that link go?
Hold on,
there's a lot of different links. Pete's gonna pop those out. There we go. We got lots of links to show up. Make sure you sign up for more because NASCO has a whole large series of these going on, some with us and of course with many other people as well, educators and content creators like us, to show off cool projects and activities and resources for teachers, librarians, and even parents trying to get kids going at home. There's a lot of homeschooling going on these days. So feel free to ask questions, by the way, as we're doing this. We'll try to go over quite a few different things today. So excellent. And before I forget, there's a list of things I might make sure I talk about. Okay. Oh, also, all these resources we show off today, I always forget things of the list. Make sure you go check out the NASCO links. They have all these resources, documentation, lesson plans, and whatnot that we have on our website are on there as well. But I'm with Josh from Brown Dial Gadgets, and Pete's over here. And of course, Jordan from NASCO is off somewhere in the distance, also here in Wisconsin. So we're gonna pop up and down to this camera up here to actually show you the project today that we're doing. Oh, there we go. So this is a Bristlebot, which I'm sure many people have probably seen before. But a Bristlebot is a very simple STEM education project that's great for ages 10 and up. Honestly, any kid ages 10 and up, really 4th grade and up, can easily make this project in a few minutes and start doing activities with it. So Bristlebot at its core is essentially a toothbrush head, a vibrating motor, and a battery. Those things are all held together with some tape or whatnot, and it vibrates around the table, which I'm going to show you right now. There we go. Ooh. They're a very whimsical vibrobot is what they are. Vibrations from the motor travel down through the bristles, making it propel forward. It's a very simple motion activity, but it can be expanded quite a few different ways and easily leveled up and down. So you can do the same activities with a 4th grader as you would with a 11th or 12th grader, just deeper and more in-depth questioning and scientific data collection, trial and error, and engineering practice that you would be doing with those older kids. And we'll go over those because we all have those in lesson plan form. Yay, lesson plans and student activity pages, because as former teachers, we know nobody likes making up lesson plans and activity pages. They don't have to. So we make a kit for this. We make all sorts of STEM education kits, which NASCO carries on their website. What makes ours different than, say, making it yourself is we make a lot of custom components with our stuff. This is by like 30-second spiel on why our Bristlebots are pretty cool. So we actually make our own custom toothbrush head, our own custom motor, and we've been doing this for about 10 years now. We've tried out every single toothbrush head on the market. So when you get a kit from us, everything you have is in that box. In fact, NASCO carries a couple different size boxes from us. Actually, they just picked up a 25 pack as well, but everything you have is in the box to build these projects with your students. All you need is a pair of scissors maybe, and well, fingers to make those. But the joy of a Bristlebot is the fact that it's so simple to make. The really interesting part about Bristlebots is that they're completely random. There's no right or wrong way to put yours together, which is how it kind of falls into that education, trial and error, experimentation phase. Because if I make a Bristlebot, or Pete over here makes a Bristlebot, you make a Bristlebot at home, they're all going to act differently, even if we do the exact same things together, because little tiny variations in balance will change the way they move around the table. Now, our lesson plans, particularly for the younger age levels, really focus on having kids do trial and error with their Bristlebot to have different outcomes. How can you make your Bristlebot go in a straight line? How can you have it stay within a circle? Challenges that are easy for kids to understand, but are really tough to do even if you're planning things out correctly. Thus, a lot of trial and error and thinking out what might I be able to change to get the movement or motion to be different. One of my favorite things is to put 2 pieces of blue painter's tape on a table or on the floor and having the kids say, okay, well, kids try to make it go straight, which is really impossible to do because these things, having a vibrating motor on there, it's going to naturally want to go one way or the other depending on how it's all vibrating together. So getting it to go straight is you're working against the force of the motor. But doing so is pretty fun to do if you can actually get it to work. So you have the kids do that as a trial and error aspect, and who can make it go down, a foot or so in a straight line staying between these lines. Now you get kids getting things correct, kids not getting things working it off for them, but it doesn't matter because they're having fun in building these things the entire time. And all the supplies you'd be using to have them do different trial and error things might be standard classroom arts and craft supplies, paper, more pipe cleaners like these guys. I used to use little nails and Q-tips on there because those work really well as extra balance tools, or more googly eyes in this case, because we always love self-sticking googly eyes. Also a little rattling effect. But a Bristlebot's a great tool for the classroom. It's a great science activity. And by the way, check out the resources because we go into pretty good detail on how to implement these in the classroom with a lot of activities and different suggestions for classroom management as well. So we're gonna make one of these to show you how easy they are because they are fun and they are simple and they are a great tool, especially if you wanna have a fun make and take activity. And that's one other thing too to point out. These are not meant to be reused time and time again. We use a very, very strong double-sided foam tape here to keep everything held together, making it very easy to put together, but not really easy to take apart. It's meant to be a make and take for the students. It's theirs to take, it's theirs to modify, and they get to take it home when they're done, giving that little bit of extra ownership for the kids so that they are the ones who, yeah, it's my project, I get to take it with me, like any good arts and crafts project. So we're gonna pop open one of these kits right here. I have a little single one here from our warehouse, and I'm going to also grab my little direction set here. We have a big old direction set on nasco.com. And the resources that come with it, but let's just go over these different components together on what's in a Bristlebot. With bigger directions we'd print out for kids, both in English and Spanish, as well as a fun video, which we're not going to show because it's no fun to have a video. And this is missing the double-sided tape. No, it's not missing. It's on the piece of paper through to the side. Oh, how embarrassing that would have been. No, we're pretty good about that. So first and foremost, we have our little toothbrush head here. Now you can use a wide variety of toothbrushes. You want to make one of these yourself. But we've actually designed this and we get these made for us because we used to cut off toothbrush heads from the handles by the thousands in our little warehouse here in Milwaukee. But we get this designed for us because the angled bristles work the best. Otherwise, you don't get any motion. I used to use dollar store ones back when I had my own classroom 10 years ago. Stiff upward bristles just don't move. It just kind of vibrates in place. Very dull. But we get these little guys made up for us. And then this is our nice industrial double-sided foam tape we have right here. This is the kind of stuff you don't want to stick onto on a wall or a window or whatnot because it's not coming off again. Again, we try to use the right parts, the very right parts for our projects. We're very parts oriented. And Pete, by the way, if you have any questions pop your way, please let me know.
Of course.
Yeah, because we usually throw them up on screen when we're doing live streaming with our YouTube stuff, but this software is a little different from us. So we have this tape, you just pop it on here. And the hardest thing for kids usually is to get this little other corner of the tape off. I have no fingernails right now, so that makes it extra difficult. This right here is a little vibrating motor, kind of the same thing you'd find in your cell phone these days, or in a bigger version might be in an electric toothbrush. So this little guy here has a little barrel jack on him, a little barrel motor with a little tiny offset weight. There we go. And that just spins around. And kids can see that motion happening. They can see that the weight is the thing that's adding that extra vibrating motion versus a regular motor without a weight on there. It's a very great way to show it weights matter when you attach to the motors. And if you really want to have fun, put your cell phone on the table and just have it vibrate. You'll see it slightly vibrate across the table like most cell phones do. Well, especially the old flip phones would do that all the time.
Yeah.
Not so much smartphones, they're a little kind of chunky these days. But that's a great example, again, of the same motion happening just in a much more limited way. So we just peel off this little top layer there. We stick our little vibrating motor, there we go, off the edge. So it's just hanging off the edge here and not in the tape. This is the one way you can mess up, is having this rotating part stuck in the tape. But we have our little direction show you exactly what to do on here. and what to do and what not to do. And the bigger directions we have, you can print off, go into a little bit more detail. So then we just got our two little wires here. And the fun thing about the wires is it doesn't matter which way you attach them to our little tiny battery right here. Positive and negative don't matter in this situation. The motor will just spin left or spin right, clockwise or counterclockwise to be more exact. There you go, getting head nods from next to me. Yeah, that's the right way of saying it, Josh. Use the teacher terms. So it doesn't matter how you hook that up. So that's easy. So you just take one of these little guys, either the red or the blue on our motors, and just kind of set it right here in the center of the tape, because we're making a little tape sandwich with this. And we're gonna take a little battery and stick it on top of there. And that just, ta-da, sticks in place. Oh, I know, it's pretty simple. And then you can see if the vibration is happening or not.
Is it happening?
Oh, it is happening. Okay. You can't really, sorry, I can't really see in the video. I'm just like, trying to show that. And there you go, you got your basic Bristlebot. But here comes the problem. If I was to attach this right now to here, which I can get it going there, it's just gonna fall over right away, because our motor is a little more powerful than what would this guy can handle, the toothbrush head. So much like having a bicycle, you have to put on training wheels every now and then when we're starting something new. So why we have these are little pipe cleaners. And this is kind of where the whole balance aspect comes into place, because our pipe cleaners are great because you can change the angle, the motion, and the motion of this guy just by changing how these pipe cleaners are hooked together. And we actually have a little gap in the middle there to fit things. Then one on top, then we just crimp them together. By the way, this wonderful crimping things together technique was brought to you by a 5th grader who's like, why are you guys doing it this other way? This works so much better. I'm like, thanks, 5th grader. You solved that problem that a bunch of adults couldn't figure out. So it's fun to watch the kids help us out every now and then. So there you go. It's a little more upright. It gives you some balance on there, and you can sweep them forward or back to change things. And also, if you want to as well, add more pipe cleaners, longer pipe cleaners, Q-tips, nails, other weights. Even sometimes have kids will combine more than one toothbrush together to get more stability. If you want to say really get into the weeds with doing the engineering challenges, especially at a 8th, 9th, 10th grade kind of ability level, you can easily just use more cheap toothbrushes from like Dollar Tree, because you get like a 5-pack for $1 probably still, and just make larger Bristlebot setups with the same kind of motors hooking things together. Nothing's more fun than the Bristlebot caterpillar that kind of gets longer and longer and longer as the students make it. But then you can use a little piece of regular tape or a sticker or whatnot to hold down this second wire on top of your motor. And if you want to get really fancy, we have a couple of self-sticking googly eyes, because googly eyes make everything better, add a little bit of vibration, noise to the whole situation. And if I had fingernails again, that'd be really helpful. Always cut my nails before doing Bristlebots. And then stick to the side, self-sticking googly eyes. That's the whole thing with this, that we want to make sure we have all the parts for this project in the box. As a teacher, you don't need anything except maybe a pair of scissors to cut the pipe cleaners down on some of the larger kits we have. There we go. One other fun activity I've done with older students as well is with a group of 9th graders in a physical science classroom. We took a bunch of different toothbrushes that had gone to, I think, Walgreens, and just bought several different types of toothbrushes, just had a little bin full of them. And I had the kids like, well, here, without telling them anything about how it works, just the basic build process, have them try out different toothbrush heads, then compare and contrast the differences in their physical appearance, the types of bristles and whatnot, quality of the components, and then how well they worked for making a Bristlebot. Which was the best material and why did you think it was? What was your hypothesis as for what would work best? What did you find out from your testing and what was your conclusion? Very easy data gathering, but in a very fun and interesting little Bristlebot way. We even could take things a step further. If you go to the Dollar Tree, which I love Dollar Tree as a dollar store, and get yourself an electric toothbrush from Dollar Tree, which are $1, oddly enough. Cut off the head portion so you have the handle with the big vibrating motor on the inside and area for a battery. Zip tie that to a big scrub brush and make a large Bristlebot. So one of the final questions we had in that 9th grade classroom was, could this project be scaled upwards? Can you make a larger version of this, and would it be as an effective form of movement? Again, very silly idea. Who would ride a gigantic Bristlebot around the street? That'd be silly. However, oddly enough, people have done that at maker fairs. We've seen videos of adults making gigantic versions of this. But using a big scrub brush as the conclusion, that after they have their, okay, let's think about this, why or why not, we break that as the example, because that is essentially a vibrating motor on a big set of bristles. And does this work better? Not really. There's kind of a maximum size these Bristlebots will work at, which is probably about this. But it does still technically work, just not actually in a useful way. So Bristlebot's a fun way of doing this. And if you want, again, if you want to go further than this too, there's a lot of different vibration things that we do. Another example we had, which will be actually, by the way, next week, if you pop in and chat with us, we're going to be doing some paper circuits activities with Nasco. One of the paper circuits things that we like doing is there we go, middle screen, a Roomba, a DIY Roomba using a different type of vibrating motor. Same idea, vibrating motor, battery, we're just hooking up with some conductive tape. This actually works pretty well for motion because it's fairly lightweight, it's paper, some cardstock here, but can we translate vibration into motion again? And why don't we go this way? Do we want to go the rolling way with wheels and tank treads? Why is vibration-based motion very inefficient? But there's a lot of different activities you can do to just take this further with the older kids, or just have fun with kids at a younger age. A lot of high interest days, a lot of STEM days, a lot of after school programs use these to just have fun, because it is a fun make and take activity that is pretty hard to mess up, and everyone can have fun playing with it when they're done. We do high interest days here locally in Milwaukee, and making them is 10 minutes with the kids as a group, and then 10 to 15 minutes of making mazes with them. And that's another fun thing too. You want to extend this activity for high interest days. One of my fun little Josh points of extra ways to expand this activity. You take a large table and you put some books under one side to prop it up. Now you have a ramp. Take some blue painter's tape, and the key here, Pete, is blue painter's tape.
Blue.
Yeah,
Not green?
No, get the blue painter's tape, because it comes easy on, easy off, and get the really, really wide stuff, because it's also really inexpensive too. Really wide stuff. What kids can do is they can take that tape and fold it over to make a wall, a self-sticking wall. And then you basically have the kids make a maze that goes downhill, and you could have a couple different groups making a couple different mazes. Because my old science classroom, we had folding tape, not folding tape, like this big long tables for the different kids to sit at. And so if you had a room like that, we could have 6 different tables, 6 different mazes that the kids could then all make something up and go around, try each other's Bristlebot mazes for their bots to then go down. Because these guys, of course, will naturally go downhill. But just a fun way of extending that activity in a different creative way. And again, it's nothing difficult and nothing expensive either in putting that kind of activity together. And it's all student-led as well. Especially you get that 5th, 6th, 7th grade route. Kids can do everything from this to the maze without any adult supervision, or I should say hand holding. They'll need supervision, they're kids. But they can get that all accomplished on their own with minimal hand holding adult interventions, because that's always the goal with our stuff, is to make sure the kids are doing all the work and all the learning themselves. You're just kind of helping guide them along a bit, like any good lesson. Any questions, Pete? Nobody ever has questions when we do stuff.
No questions, but do you want to mention the this STEM grant program?
Oh, yes, indeed. That's why Pete's here too, because I always miss things. Oh, there's my sheet of things to mention. I'll put that on screen. Off to the side. No. So Nasco here. Where are we here? If you want to try out some hands-on activities, check out the free supplemental STEM curriculum at enasco.com/STEM-grant-program, which is up on screen.
Yeah.
Trying to get that radio announcer voice going. For more information, contact NASCO. We do a lot of live streaming.
And Josh, there's a couple of kits they talk about there too.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed. These are new too. So with NASCO, we put together a couple of small STEM circuitry kits, little STEM bags that are meant for either classroom use or really also use at home. We have 2 different versions, a $10 version or a $30 version. The goal is that each of these bags contains a certain number of activities for kids to do at home using our different Brown Dog Gadgets resources, materials, and lesson plans. We've been doing this a lot all summer, creating lessons for home use, and so many kids are at home doing home learning because of COVID-19, because camps are closed or whatnot. But for instance, a large circuitry kit can do 3 weeks worth of lessons for $30. 15 different lessons. Shoot, we have 7 different lessons on just fun paper circuits activities. We have solar activities, Bristlebot's one of them. Building a Roomba can literally be with the parts in hand. So we have heaps of resources that we have and NASCO has on their website for this stuff. Those are really handy to get out to kids and get them motivated for half an hour a day, doing a fun activity, learning something, and making an interesting STEM project. Actually, this card right here is in there.
Yeah.
And that little bag of Bristlebot parts was from one of those kits. But we have our Bristlebots, our LED name badges, our solar bugs, which is like a solar powered Bristlebot. We're learning about solar energy and vibration and motion a different way, and a bunch of our paper circuitry activities, both from simple up to rather advanced things, such as the surprisingly complicated yet surprisingly simple Roomba. Sorry, robot vacuum, not Roomba. That's a trademark for somebody else.
Yeah, Varumba.
Varumba is what we call them, Varumba. But they're nice hands-on, very much student-led activities. They require very little oversight, especially if you're a teacher who is stuck on video chat, helping kids out, because I cannot imagine how horrible that is to constantly manage 30 kids.
Challenging. Not horrible,
challenging. I just know with my middle school kids, there are some students I would not trust to get anything done via video chat. That was a while ago, who are probably now all adults in jobs. But yeah, good stuff. What else is on this list here?
Josh, we have a couple different places you can.
Oh, there we go. I see. These are social media links. So if you want to check out NASCO stuff, NASCO posts a lot of information, especially the resources and updates for workshops such as this, upcoming events, especially upcoming coupons and deals for things, because everyone loves that. At like facebook.com / I always say the wrong one, / NASCO Education, Twitter, NASCO Education, YouTube, NASCO Education, where you'll be able to find this video for years to come, where I can, see myself talk. And Instagram, if you're an Instagrammy type person. But be sure to share these things, because I know NASCO really enjoys when teachers share the resources that they're putting out there. And same thing that we do too, which is why we share our stuff with NASCO, shares with other people. But they're just really nice ways to get some extra ideas for resources for your classroom right now, because I know these times are challenging. It is reinventing the wheel, so to speak, this year. But things like Bristlebots are easy out of the bag. Same with our paper circuit activities, which we'll be showing off quite a few different ones next week. Yeah, that's definitely check out these things with NASCO. Check out those couple of fun student circuitry kits, the $10 and the $30 one that NASCO just has. Oh, these are not live on the website yet, but you can call NASCO. Why am I not reading this sheet? Sorry. They can call NASCO at this number, 1-800-558-9595. Call today.
Tell them what number.
So they're the NE30039 and NE30040. But the individual student small circuitry kit and individual student large circuitry kit, $10 and $30 with NASCO. I should really read this little sheet better here. I can read it at a 7th grade level. Call NASCO. They're very nice. They're here in Wisconsin, same as us, the cheese state, and definitely come next week. Pete, are we about on time here?
3:23.
Yeah, we're actually literally on time. Yay. Bristlebots are pretty simple, which is why I like to talk about the activities you can do with them, because there's so many things you can do with them. They also make a great stocking stuffer if you want to get a Bristlebot 4-pack as a birthday gift or a stocking stuffer. Look at the fun little package here. Stocking stuffer. 4 Bristlebots to annoy your cat, siblings, or small cousins.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay.
But no, definitely check out next week. We'll be here with NASCO again at same bat time, same bat channel, as they would say back in the day.
Same STEM time.
Same STEM time, same STEM channel. Pow. We need those little explosions.
Again, free resources.
Check these out. STEM grant program with NASCO. They're really pumping out resources and working with people like us to put out all those resources, because I know content right now is kind of the important thing, because if you're all reinventing the wheel to do distance learning with students, any help teachers can get, the better. One less thing to plan out. That's a lot of new lesson planning to do on the fly. But definitely check us out next week. We're going to quite a few different paper circuitry things, including this as a demo for which we'll be showing off in the next one. But we'll be showing off things, paper circuitry activities using transistors, resistors, not just LED light up greeting cards, which is kind of the go-to thing, but doing larger interactive circuits and different ways to implement that as a remote learning activity as well, since you can't send all those fun circuitry stuff you have in your classroom home with the kids, but you can send home a small amount of the paper circuitry stuff that we have and NASCO has in those STEM individual student learning kits, and have the students do quite a few different activities at home with them from the same batch of materials. And of course, we have like 8 or 9 lesson plans, I think, right now posted for that. So those are fun things we're showing off next week. One last thing, any questions?
No more questions. They did post the PDFs in the
Yay!
software,
They're
so-
going to do that. Yeah, Jordan
Yeah.
mentioned he was going to post those up.
Oh, good.
Be sure to call Nasco. They're nice people to say, hey, Nasco, how's it going? Do you have any cheese curds? Are they squeaky? Which is a
No,
thing.
it says to order. Don't
Oh,
call
to
and talk
order.
about cheese.
Cheese. Forget, they're not a cheese producer. They're STEM
I'm
education.
sure they enjoy
company.
cheese.
I'm sure they do.
Most of us do.
Wow, it's Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
hear
I
Jordan
know,
laughing
Josh,
in the
right?
background.
All right, so
on that
I
note-
have some last remarks. Again, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today, and thank you to Josh for presenting. I definitely appreciate it. If you have any additional questions, you can ask them at this time. And as you're maybe writing them, I did want to make sure to make a quick note that these are intended to be easy to learn and engaging STEM activities that you can integrate and supplement your curriculum at home or at school. If you're anxious to connect with Nasco Education outside of this webinar event, feel free to reach out to us at any of your social handles that you see in the chat or that they posted. And then you can also follow up with this afterwards, any additional questions at engage@nascoeducation.com. So to make sure to fill out that survey at the very end, that can definitely help us as well to kind of, if you have any additional comments or questions about this, we also have our grant program. I put that link in the chat feature. Definitely check that out. I think it's a great opportunity for you to also implement. But yes, like as Josh also said too, that we do have handouts in there for your lesson plans for the Bristlebots, and we'll also continue to add other different resources as well. Like I said, this is going to be a weekly episode, half-hour quick tutorials, little images and activities that you can do to engage your students, whether at school or at home. And we want to make sure that it's easy to implement. So thank you for joining us today. I think that's all we have. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for everything you do. And then we'll see you everybody next week. I don't think I see any questions come up. Nope, that's okay. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great one. Thanks for joining us today for our quick and first webinar series.